miliki gudang multiguna at Peak 2 Beach Park. Hadir dengan layout yang fungsional, bisa difungsikan sebagai gudang, kantor, dan rumah sekaligus. Hanya 3,5 menit menuju interchange, hanya 18 menit menuju Bandara Internasional Soekarno-Hatta. Miliki gudang multiguna ukuran 6x20 meter dengan harga spesial 2,5 miliar rupiah. Kunjungi show unit kami, hubungi 021 588 8000.
World News, Senin hingga Jumat live jam 11:30 malam.
He's got about 3 more. Oh, Nando! Exploding grounder that he picks and then fires on a high.
Hello, good evening. You're watching World News on Metro Globe Network. I'm Kanya Sutisnawinata. We are live from Jakarta, and here are tonight's top stories. U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris safely returned to join Base Andrews in Maryland after a technical issue derailed her planned visit to Latin America Sunday. Two express trains collided in southern Pakistan early Monday, killing at least 30 passengers. U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris safely returned to join Base Andrews in Maryland after a technical issue derailed her planned visit to Latin America Sunday. U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris' plane returned to join Base Andrews in Maryland, U.S. about 30 minutes later, after she had left on a trip to Guatemala and Mexico. Citing no major safety concern, her return to the military base was related to a technical issue. The plane landed safely, and she gave a thumbs up when she unboarded the plane. The vice president departed on another plane an hour later, resuming her trip to Latin America, though putting Vice President Harris 2 hours behind schedule. The U.S. vice president will be in Guatemala and Mexico this week, her first foreign trip as vice president, amid political pressure to stem the flow of migrants to the U.S. Two express trains collided in southern Pakistan early Monday, killing at least 30 passengers. The Millat Express derailed and the Sir Syed Express train hit it soon afterward. It was not immediately clear what caused the derailment and the subsequent collision. Between 15 to 20 passengers were still trapped in the wreckage of the Millat Express train Monday morning as authorities scrambled to arrange heavy machinery for the rescue operation. Railway officials said about 1,100 passengers were on board the two trains. Meanwhile, injured passengers were transported to nearby hospital to receive treatment, some in critical conditions. Train accidents are common in Pakistan, where successive governments have paid little attention to improving the poorly maintained railway signal system and aging tracks. Rough seas and poor visibility hamper Navy divers detecting fuel leakage from a fire-ravaged container ship carrying chemicals. A Sri Lanka Navy spokesman said divers also searched for any leakage from the ship on Sunday, but could not complete the mission due to poor ocean conditions. Officials said there are no sign of oil or chemical spills, but environmentalists have warned of a possible environmental disaster if hazardous materials are released into the water. The Singapore-flagged MV Express Pearl began sinking last Wednesday, a day after authorities extinguished a fire that had raged on the vessel for 12 days. Efforts to tow the ship into deeper waters away from Columbus port failed after the ship's stern sank and rested on the seabed. The disaster has already caused debris to wash ashore, and the government has banned fishing along about 80 kilometers of coastline. Hundreds of demonstrators gathered for their weekly protest against Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in Jerusalem for what might be the last time on Saturday. Netanyahu's opponents on Thursday pushed for a quick parliament vote to formally end his lengthy rule. They hope to head off any last-minute attempts by the Prime Minister to derail the opponent's newly announced coalition government. The latest maneuvering began just hours after opposition leader Yair Lapid and his main coalition partner, Naftali Bennett, declared they had reached a deal for a governing coalition across 8 political parties. They all share the goal of toppling Netanyahu after a record-setting 12 years in power, but the fragile coalition still faces a tough road ahead. 17 people were killed by a missile attack in the central city of Marib, Yemen, Sunday. According to Yemen officials, the attack was launched by Iran-backed Houthi rebels. The ballistic missile struck a gas station in the central city of Marib, Yemen on Sunday. The explosion set cars ablaze as drivers were refueling them. All of the victims were civilians, including a 5-year-old girl. Yemen's information minister declared the attack a war crime. There was no immediate comment from the Houthis. A street gang locally known as the Red Command torched 14 municipal buses and 2 police cars on fire in the Brazilian city of Manaus after a son of their leader was killed during a police raid. The Red Command issued a warning to residents via social media to stay off the streets or face execution after the death of Dadinho. Burned buses littered a terminal near downtown Manaus. Some banks and businesses were also damaged and looted by rampaging gang members. The Red Command is known for its heavy involvement in drugs and weapons trafficking, a key conduit for weapons and drugs arriving from nearby Colombia and Venezuela before smuggling to the U.S. and southern Latin America. The gang maintains control of favelas through intimidation and violence, clashing with security forces in sometimes heavy shootouts in the streets of the country's cities. The governor of Amazonas, Wilson Lima, declared a state of emergency, deploying extra police and other security forces into the streets of the city to quell the violence. The Red Command is the same gang targeted in Rio de Janeiro last month in a police raid that led to the death of 28 people and 1 policeman in a local favela. Thousands of people rallied in Hungary's capital Saturday, opposing plans by Prime Minister Viktor Orban to host a Chinese university in Budapest. A strategic agreement that Hungary signed with Shanghai-based Fudan University included opening a branch in the city's 9th district. It would become the first Chinese university campus in the 27th nation European Union. Demonstrators marched from Hero Square towards the Hungarian Parliament building, defying a pandemic ban on gatherings of more than 500 people. The crowd carried banners reading "No Fudan" flags and posters. Budapest authorities have opposed the university branch idea. They argued the $1.9 billion project would place a huge burden on taxpayers and send the wrong political message because of the alleged human rights abuses in China. The site on the Danube slated for the Fudan campus was earlier chosen to host a student city that would provide accommodation, recreation, and sports facilities for 8,000 Hungarian students. And coming up on World News, holidaymakers from the UK caught off guard by news that Britain will remove Portugal from its list of COVID-safe travel destinations.
Kedelai hitam spesial, kecap sedap. Kental and so caramelized. Looks good, tastes good. Post, eat, repeat. Kedelai hitam spesial, kecap sedap. Beli kemasan pouch, gratis piring keramik dari Wings Food.
Setiap saat, berita bertabur di ruang publik. Namun hanya Media Indonesia memberikan yang terbaik, mendalam, terpercaya, dan mudah diakses di mana saja dan kapan saja. Media Indonesia Cetak, mediaindonesia.com, dan e-paper Media Indonesia layak menjadi referensi Anda. Media Indonesia, referensi bangsa. Kesehatan yang sudah tidak optimal tentu akan berakibat pada kualitas hidup Anda. Ilmu pengetahuan yang semakin berkembang dan teknologi yang semakin maju membawa sejumlah inovasi di bidang medis.
Setelah diperiksa lab, gulanya tinggi. Curiga, hati-hati. Ini adalah salah satu tanda masalah pada jantung.
Jangan anggap enteng yang namanya stroke. Halo pemirsa, apa kabar? Senang sekali saya Tantri Murdoko dan juga Kak Ronald bisa kembali menjumpai Anda di Go Healthy, cara tepat, hidup sehat.
Kenapa sih kita harus berinvestasi di PIK 2? Ada 3 alasan utama. Yang pertama, lokasi PIK 2. Alasan kedua, setiap orang yang membeli PIK 2 dianggap sebagai pemegang saham. Membeli produk PIK 2 memang selalu untung karena harga perdana PIK 2 50% di bawah harga market. Alasan yang ketiga, fasilitas. Di mana fasilitas yang tersedia di PIK 2 jauh lebih banyak dari real estate manapun juga.
Bincang-bincang seputar dunia kreatif, ide, dan inspirasi pekerja kreatif, baik dari Indonesia maupun Amerika. Kami suguhkan spesial untuk Anda.
Ketemu lagi dengan saya Naratama di sini. Program ini kita akan mengupas berbagai macam cerita di balik layar.
Kreatif Talk, setiap hari Senin dan Selasa, mulai 15 Februari, jam 6:30 malam. Hanya di Magna Channel.
Metro Pagi Prime Time, setiap hari live jam 4:30 pagi.
First Lady Jill Biden and Dr. Anthony Fauci toured a COVID-19 vaccination site at a historic Harlem church on Sunday. Biden, Fauci, and U.S. Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, a New York Democrat, watched as people got their shots in the basement of the Abyssinian Baptist Church. The Abyssinian Baptist Church has often hosted elected officials and other dignitaries, including February when former President Bill Clinton and former Senator Hillary Clinton attended a memorial service for actor Cicely Tyson. The church first started offering vaccine doses in January in an effort to boost the vaccination rates in New York City's Black and Hispanic communities.
Harlem, and Khalil is one of our participants that's going to college.
Thank you.
So he needs the.
What college?
You're welcome. He needs the vaccine to go to school.
Purchase New York, up in New York.
Thailand today begins their much-anticipated mass rollout of locally produced AstraZeneca vaccine. Hospitals in various parts of the country have been posting notices for several days that some scheduled appointments would be delayed. Of course, it is adding to existing public skepticism about how many doses the new factory of Siam Bioscience, an AstraZeneca local partner, would be able to produce each month. The government has said it will produce 6 million doses in June, then 10 million doses each month from July to November, and 5 million doses in December. Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha said the Health Ministry confirmed that vaccinations could begin in every province, with vaccines being allocated in accordance to the infection rates. The vaccination station visited by Prayut can provide 1,500 jabs a day, but Mongkong Wanit Pakde Decha, who was the supervisor of the operation, said they have 3 days supply on hand, but he did not know if other sites had enough for more than 1 day. Prayut's government had already come under fierce criticism for failure to secure timely and sufficient vaccine supplies. The government has been scrambling to obtain additional supplies to supplement the Chinese-made Sinovac it has been using so far, and the AstraZeneca now coming on stream. Businesses in 2 of India's largest cities reopened on Monday as part of a phased easing of lockdown measures due to a decline in daily COVID-19 infections. India's capital allowed businesses and shops to reopen with limited hours at the Delhi Metro, which serves New Delhi and adjoining areas, also resumed operations at 50% capacity. Last week, authorities in the capital allowed some manufacturing and construction activity to resume. The strict lockdown measures had been in place since April at the start of a devastating surge in infections that lasted well into May and overwhelmed healthcare facilities in many parts of the country. The government hopes the reopening could push up an economy that grew at only 1.6% annual rate in the January-March quarter. Holidaymakers from the UK were caught off guard by news that Britain will remove Portugal from its list of COVID-safe travel destinations. Hundreds of British tourists vacationing in the Algarve, a popular touristic destination in southern Portugal, were waiting in long queues to board a flight to the UK at Faro Airport. UK Transport Secretary Grant Shapps said that difficult decision was prompted by rising infection rates in Portugal and worries about new mutations of the coronavirus that could prove resistant to vaccines. A mutation of the Delta variant, first identified in India, was causing particular concern. The change will take effect at 4 a.m. 03 at 3 GMT on Tuesday. Portugal is a major destination for sun-seeking Britons and was the only large tourism destination on the UK government's green list of places that can be visited without the need to self-isolate on return. The list was announced last month. Portugal's foreign ministry said it can't understand the logic behind the British decision. The travel industry reacted with dismay to the UK announcement. The scramble to return before the requirement to self-isolate comes into effect also coincides with Sunday being the last day of the school half-term. Amid the economic crisis in Buenos Aires, resident owners in Palermo protested against the coronavirus restrictions that are still in force. Empty tables were laid out by the protest site, each one representing a restaurant that's been affected by the lockdown. On each table was a sign stating the number of families whose livelihoods depend on that restaurant. Owners want the right to open 7 days a week, abiding by protocols while extending opening hours until midnight and allowing indoor dining. And coming up on World News, we have more news, including Meghan and Harry welcome second child, Lilibet Lily Diana.
Kedelai hitam spesial, kecap sedap. Kental and so caramelized. Looks good, tastes good. Post, eat, repeat. Kedelai hitam spesial, kecap sedap. Beli kemasan pouch, gratis piring keramik dari Wings Food.
Akhirnya Mas Ganjar sowan lah ke Mbak Puan. Saya bilang, Mbak Puan itu dipasangkannya harus sama Anies. Mau Prabowo juga nungsep pasti.
Di PDI itu sangat-sangat feudalistik. Bahwa ada yang namanya darah biru.
Tentu PDIP punya rasionalitas. Kenapa misalnya Ganjar dikunci.
Medcom.id, a part of Media Group News.
Kesehatan itu adalah hal penting yang harus kita jaga loh.
Saat ini, teknologi pun ikut mendukung kesehatan.
Supaya semakin sehat dan bugar.
Bersama para pakar kesehatan, kami mengulas kesehatan yang berbalut teknologi.
Simak Go Healthy di Metro TV.
Hari gini 2.000 bisa dapat apa?
Kedelai hitam spesial kecap sedap kemasan 2.000 bisa dapat banyak. Nasi goreng, ayam bakar, seafood sampai cocolan.
Wow,
banyak banget. Kedelai hitam spesial kecap sedap kemasan 2.000 dari Wings Food.
Kenapa sih kita harus berinvestasi di PIK 2? Ada 3 alasan utama. Yang pertama, lokasi PIK 2. Alasan kedua, setiap orang yang membeli PIK 2 dianggap sebagai pemegang saham. Membeli produk PIK 2 memang selalu untung karena harga perdana PIK 2 50% di bawah harga market. Alasan yang ketiga, fasilitas. Di mana fasilitas yang tersedia di PIK 2 jauh lebih banyak dari real estate manapun juga.
Beragam info menarik yang dekat dengan kearifan lokal masyarakat Indonesia, kami kemas secara apik, ringan, juga menghibur.
Kesadaran untuk mengingat Allah supaya melahirkan ridho.
Hati nurani itu akan menjadi saksi.
Usparagam Indonesia, Sabtu dan Minggu jam 5 sore di Magna Channel.
Selamat pagi Indonesia, Senin sampai Sabtu, jam 8:30 pagi.
Welcome back. Meghan and Harry welcome second child, Lilibet Lily Diana, the second baby for the Duke and Duchess of Sussex.
Britain's Prince Harry and his wife Meghan thanked well-wishers for their continued kindness and support on Sunday after the birth of their second child. The baby girl was born Friday at the Santa Barbara Cottage Hospital in Santa Barbara, California. She's been named Lilibet Lily Diana Mountbatten Windsor. The name pays tribute to both Harry's grandmother, Queen Elizabeth II, whose family nickname is Lilibet, and his late mother, Princess Diana. The child is 8th in line to the British throne. Britain's royal family expressed their delight at the news, Buckingham Palace said. Ties between the Sussexes and the rest of the royal family have been strained since Harry and Meghan gave up their royal duties and moved to California. Since then, relations have worsened, with the couple giving interviews in which they accused the royal family of being racist and uncaring. Meanwhile, Queen Elizabeth II and the members of the royal family have offered congratulations to the Duke and Duchess of Sussex on the birth of their baby daughter, Lilibet Lily Diana Mountbatten Windsor, sharing goodwill messages on their official social media Sunday, June 6, 2021. The Twitter page for the Queen and members of the royal family Sunday published a wedding photograph of Prince Harry and Meghan with the message, "Congratulations to the Duke and Duchess of Sussex on the birth of Lilibet Diana. The Queen, the Prince of Wales, and the Duchess of Cornwall and the Duke of Duchess of Cambridge are delighted with the news. Lilibet is Her Majesty's 11th great-grandchild." A photograph of Prince Harry, Meghan with their first child, Archie, was posted on the Twitter page on Prince Charles and the Duchess of Cornwall, along with the message, "Congratulations to Harry, Meghan, and Archie on the arrival of baby Lilibet Diana, wishing them all well at this special time." Prince William and Kate, Duchess of Cambridge, wished the Sussexes well with the tweet, "We are all delighted by the happy news of the arrival of baby Lily. Congratulations to Harry, Meghan, and Archie."
Coming up is top entertainment news, and that's it for World News Tonight. I'm Kanya Sutisnawinata. Thanks again for watching. Good night.
Paramount Pictures last Thursday temporarily shut down production on the British set of Tom Cruise's 7th Mission Impossible film after someone tested positive for coronavirus. The company provided no further details. In December, Cruise launched an expletive-laden rant at colleagues on the Mission Impossible set after he reportedly spotted 2 crew members violating social distancing rules. In audio released by the Sun tabloid, Cruise can be heard warning that anyone caught not following the rules to stay at least 2 meters away from others will be fired. The film, which paused production for months early last year, along with the rest of the film industry when the coronavirus pandemic took hold, is scheduled to be released in 2022.
This is my 4th time, but not my last time to come back.
All right!
Thank you.
We wait, we risk losing the whole day, dropping 3 patients.
If I move my patient by the window, I can debride the ulcer.
Go.
Freddie Highmore is prescribing a cliffhanger for the finale of The Good Doctor. The last episode of season 4 sees the medics of San Jose, San Bonaventure, and Guatemala on a mission to provide life-changing surgeries for people in the region. Highmore, who plays Dr. Sean Murphy, says a lot happens for all the characters.
Hopefully, could remove the lower lobe without.
Due to the restraints of COVID-19 safety protocols, the cast weren't able to travel to Guatemala. Instead, they filmed in Merritt in British Columbia. The British actor is currently back in the UK, where he's working on an animated movie called The Canterville Ghost. Hugh Laurie is also in the cast, another Brit who successfully played an American doctor on House. That hospital drama was also created by David Shore, the producer of The Good Doctor. The Good Doctor has been renewed for another season, and the 2-part finale of season 4 concludes on ABC Monday, June 7th.
Dr. Murphy.
Look who's home! Bad changes happened in the
Says the movie adaptation of his Broadway musical In the Heights, all hits different now.
Earlier. If you really want some bread, then go ahead, create it.
I'm not gonna sit here and give you some fairy tale.
The movie stars Anthony Ramos as a bodega owner thinking of moving out of his Washington Heights neighborhood. The 29-year-old actor says the movie's themes and energy feel particularly resonant after more than a year of social distancing and, for many, suffering. Ramos says he felt deeply personally connected.
Metro TV.
Miliki gudang multiguna at Peak 2 Bispark. Hadir dengan layout yang fungsional. Bisa difungsikan sebagai gudang, kantor, dan rumah sekaligus. Hanya 3,5 menit menuju interchange. Hanya 18 menit menuju Bandara Internasional Soekarno-Hatta. Miliki gudang multiguna ukuran 6x20 meter dengan harga spesial 2,5 miliar rupiah. Kunjungi show unit kami. Hubungi 021 588 8000.
Warnai hari-hari Anda dengan nuansa tayangan kami yang inspiratif,
there is something beautiful in difference.
Atraktif,
Orders ready.
Penuh ide-ide kreatif.
Oh, that's so cool.
Dan yang bakal bikin suasana makin rileks. Semuanya bisa dinikmati di Magna Channel melalui TV digital Anda.
Editorial Media Indonesia, Senin sampai Sabtu, jam 7:30 pagi.
Indonesia tanah air beta, pusaka abadi nan jaya. Indonesia sejak dulu kala tetap puja bangsa.
Indonesia tanah air beta, pusaka abadi nan jaya. Indonesia sejak dulu kala tetap dipuja bangsa.
Di sana tempat lahir beta, dibuai dibesarkan bunda, tempat berlindung di hari tua sampai akhir menutup mata, tempat berlindung di hari tua sampai akhir menutup mata.
Metro TV, a part of Media Group News.
Inilah headline news pukul 00 waktu Indonesia Barat. Petugas gabungan Pemkot Surabaya kembali memperketat penyekatan dan swab massal bagi pengguna kendaraan roda 2 atau roda 4 dari Bangkalan di pos penyekatan Suramadu, sisi Surabaya pada Senin malam. 21 warga Bangkalan diketahui reaktif hasil swab antigen dan langsung dibawa ke Rumah Sakit Lapangan Indrapura Surabaya dan Rumah Sakit Haji Surabaya. Pemirsa, pada Senin malam, penyekatan dilakukan petugas gabungan Pemkot Surabaya dari Dinas Kesehatan, Dinas Perhubungan, dan Linmas Satpol PP Kota Surabaya dibantu TNI Polri di pintu keluar jembatan Suramadu ke arah Kota Surabaya. Penyekatan kali ini lebih ketat karena arus kendaraan mulai padat. Hingga Senin malam tercatat lebih dari 5.000 orang dites antigen dan sebanyak 21 orang reaktif. Ke-21 orang ini langsung dibawa ke Rumah Sakit Lapangan Indrapura Surabaya dan Rumah Sakit Umum Haji Surabaya untuk isolasi dan dilanjutkan tes PCR. Bila hasil tes PCR positif, mereka akan langsung mendapatkan perawatan lanjutan. Swab antigen massal dan mendadak ini dilakukan hingga 24 jam penuh sehingga petugas menjamin tidak ada kendaraan maupun warga yang datang dari Bangkalan lolos dari pemeriksaan. Swab massal juga dilakukan mengingat peningkatan kasus COVID-19 di Bangkalan dalam 3 hari terakhir. Selain penyekatan di sisi menuju Surabaya, penyekatan kendaraan juga dilakukan bagi kendaraan yang mengarah ke Bangkalan selama 24 jam. Hal ini akan terus dilakukan hingga penyebaran COVID di Kabupaten Bangkalan melandai. Pihak Pemkab Bangkalan dibantu Dinas Kesehatan Provinsi Jawa Timur sejak Minggu pagi terus melakukan penyekatan dan tes rapid antigen massal di akses jalan menuju jembatan Suramadu selama 24 jam penuh. Ini untuk mencegah adanya penyebaran COVID-19 yang lebih tinggi. Pemkab juga sudah memberikan jadwal kepada puskesmas di seluruh kecamatan untuk melaksanakan rapid test antigen secara bergantian kepada pengendara yang hendak masuk ke Madura. Bagi warga yang dinyatakan negatif akan diberikan stiker di kendaraannya, namun stiker tersebut hanya berlaku 1 hari. Setiap harinya kepolisian juga akan mengganti warna stiker ini untuk menghindari pemalsuan. Demikian headline news saat ini pemirsa, kami akan kembali untuk Anda 1 jam mendatang. Sampai jumpa.
Saksikan live streaming Metro TV dan dapatkan informasi secara lengkap dengan video berkualitas high definition di kanal metrotvnews.com dan medcom.id. Untuk meningkatkan kualitas siaran, Metro TV migrasi ke satelit merah putih Telkom 4 dengan parameter pastikan tetap terinformasi dengan tayangan lebih jernih bersama Metro TV.
Hello, good evening. Welcome to Asia Prime on Metro Globe Network, coming to you live from Jakarta, Indonesia. I'm Ralph Tambubolon.
And I'm Fifi Leda Yahya. In the next 60 minutes, we have prime stories from all over the world.
And here are tonight's top stories.
2 express trains collided in southern Pakistan early Monday, killing at least 30 passengers.
Thailand today begin their much-anticipated mass rollout of locally produced AstraZeneca vaccine, but it appeared that supplies were falling short of demand from those with scheduled appointments.
The second baby for the Duke and Duchess of Sussex is officially here. Meghan gave birth to a healthy girl on Friday, Lilibet Lily Diana.
Well, we begin tonight's edition from southern Pakistan, where 2 express trains collided early Monday, killing at least 30 passengers.
The Milad Express derailed and the Surshade Express train hit it soon afterward. Still not clear on the cause of the derailment and the subsequent collision. Between 15 to 20 passengers were still trapped in the wreckage of the Milad Express train on Monday morning, and authorities were trying to arrange heavy machinery for the rescue operation. According to railway officials, about 1,100 passengers were on board on the 2 trains, and arrangements were being made to help the surviving passengers.
Ambulances transported injured passengers to hospital where they received treatments. Some were listed in critical condition. Now, train accidents are common in Pakistan, where successive governments have paid little attention to improving the poorly maintained signal system and aging tracks. On to Jordan, where the Jordanian parliament on Sunday voted to dismiss an MP whose supporters clashed with security forces, and during an emergency session, 108 lawmakers voted for Osama al-Ajarmeh's dismissal after parliament approved a memorandum submitted by lawmakers.
4 security personnel were injured in Naur Bridge near Amman International Airport following a riot that saw burning vehicles and shooting in the air by Al-Jarmeh supporters. Security forces were continuing to deal with rioters on Sunday, blocking off roads with vehicles and banning gatherings of Al-Jarmeh supporters. Al-Jarmeh had reportedly criticized the Jordanian parliament last month.
أن أدين باسمكم جميعا وبشكل صارم ما صدر من تفوهات منحرفة تجاه جلالة مليكنا وأعلن رفض المجلس ووقوفه بحزم في وجه أي مساس بحياتي ومكانتي ومنزلتي قائدنا المفدى وأي مساس بنظامنا.
Thailand today begins the country's much anticipated mass rollout of locally produced AstraZeneca vaccine, but it appeared that supplies were falling short of demand from those with scheduled opinions.
Hospitals in various parts of the country have been posting notices for several days that some scheduled appointments will be delayed. Of course, it is adding to existing public skepticism as to how many doses the new factory of Siam Bioscience, an AstraZeneca local partner, will be able to produce each month. Now, the government has said it will produce 6 million doses this month, then 10 million doses each month starting from July to November, and 5 million doses in December. Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha says the health ministry confirmed that vaccinations could begin in every province, with vaccines being allocated in accordance to the infection rates.
The vaccination station visited by Prayut can provide 1,500 jabs a day, but Mongkon Wanit Pakdi Decha, who was a supervisor of the operation, said they have 3 days supply on hand, but he did not know if other sites had enough for more than 1 day. Prayut's government had already come under fierce criticism for failure to secure timely and sufficient vaccine supplies. The government has been scrambling to obtain additional supplies to supplement the Chinese-made Sinovac it has been using so far, and the AstraZeneca now coming on stream. Thailand government has targeted vaccinating 70% of the country's population this year, a figure believed to confer herd immunity against coronavirus.
A third wave of the coronavirus beginning in April has been devastating and underlined the need for a more ambitious vaccination campaign. The third wave has accounted for 84% of the total, more than 179,000 confirmed cases in the country since January last year, and 92.5% of the total of 1,269 confirmed and reported deaths. Thailand had given 4 million vaccinations, with about 4% of the country's 70 million people receiving at least one jab.
Siam Bioscience was reported to have delivered its first 1.8 million doses to AstraZeneca's local office last Wednesday, which were then turned over to the health ministry on Friday. For additional supply, China has supplied 6.5 million doses of Sinovac to Thailand, including 500,000 doses that arrived Saturday.
ในส่วนของผมก็รับการยืนยันจากกระทรวงสาธารณสุขว่าวันที่ 7 เนี่ยเรามีการฉีดวัคซีนพร้อมกันทั่วประเทศวันนี้ก็ฉีดทุกจังหวัดนะอันนี้มีการปรับยอดวัคซีนให้ลงทุกจังหวัดนะครับมากน้อยตามสถานการณ์ที่เกิดขึ้นเพราะเราต้องการที่จะป้องกันการแพร่ระบาด
On to Brazil, where a street gang set 14 municipal buses and 2 police cars on fire in the Brazilian city of Manaus after a gang member was killed by police during a raid. The gang issued a warning to residents through social media to, quote, stay off the streets or face execution, unquote, after the death of Dadinho, son of a leader of the Red Command.
Burned buses littered a terminal near downtown Manaus. Some banks and business were damaged and looted by rampaging gang members. The Red Command is known for its heavy involvement in drug and weapons trafficking, a key conduit for weapons and drugs arriving from nearby Colombia and Venezuela before being shipped on to the U.S. and southern Latin America. The gang maintains control of favelas through intimidation and also violence, clashing with security forces, and sometimes heavy shootouts in the streets of the country's cities. The governor of the Amazonas, Wilson Lima, declared state of emergency, deploying extra police and other security forces into the streets of the city of the violence.
The Red Command is the same gang targeted in Rio de Janeiro last month in a police raid that led to the deaths of 28 people and 1 policeman in a local favela. The Conservative Party handily batted away a challenge from the far right in a state election Sunday that was seen as the last big test for Germany's political parties before a national vote in September.
Projections are that the ARD put Merkel's center-right Christian Democratic Union at 36.2%, a gain of more than 6 percentage points compared to the last election 5 years ago. The far-right Alternative for Germany, or AfD, was projected to get 22.5% of the vote, a slight drop compared to 2016. The party has moved steadily further to the right in recent years, and its chapter in Saxony-Anhalt has come under increased scrutiny from Germany's domestic intelligence service for its ties to extremist groups.
CDU Secretary General Paul Ziemiak described the result as, quote, sensationally good, unquote, and says incumbent Governor Rainer Hasselhoff would lead the state in the future. Now, elections in Germany's 16 states are often influenced by local issues and voting sentiments. They're also seen as important bellwethers for the national mood. A strong win for the CDU would be seen as a sign that the party's new leader, Armin Laschet, can hope for support from both conservatives and centrists on September 26th, when it aims to hold on to power at the federal level, despite four-term Chancellor Merkel not running again. The election result, if projections based on partial counts are confirmed, would be a strong endorsement for Hasselhoff, who now has the comfort of being able to pick from 3 possible coalitions with smaller parties.
The 67-year-old Hasselhoff, whose popularity in the state was a strong pull for voters, ruled out any cooperation with AfD or the ex-communist Left Party, who were projected to get 10.9% of the vote, a record low in the state. And we are moving on to the latest result of election in Peru. The daughter of an imprisoned former president is ahead in the race for Peru's presidency.
Initial results released hours after polls closed on Sunday shows that with 42% of votes tallied, conservative Keiko Fujimori has 52.9% of the people's support. Leftist rural teacher Pedro Castillo at about 47% thus far. Just over 57% of the votes have still been counted, and it's the vote of the rural region. Fujimori has not reacted to the results just yet. The two polarizing populist candidates have promised coronavirus vaccines for all and other strategies to alleviate the health emergency that has killed more than 180,000 people in the country.
And now let's take a look for our economy report from Mercy Wijaya from Jakarta, Indonesia.
And we'll be back after this. Stay tuned on Asia Prime.
As investors react to Chinese trade data for May. China's exports rose 27.9% in May as compared with a year ago. That was lower than forecast by analysts in a Reuters poll for a 32.1% year-on-year jump in export. And this made Chinese blue chip ease 0.5%. In other development, finance ministers of the most advanced economies, known as Group of Seven or G7 countries, will back a global minimum corporate tax of at least 15%. The reform will affect the largest companies in the world with profit margins of at least 10%. Meanwhile, Jakarta Stock Exchange Composite Index moved sideways after gain 3.72% for the last 7 days. Indonesian stock markets is still attractive due to dividend distribution on July 2021. From Jakarta, I'm Mercy Wijaya reporting for Asia Prime Metro Globe Network.
Kesehatan itu adalah hal penting yang harus kita jaga loh.
Saat ini, teknologi pun ikut mendukung kesehatan.
Supaya semakin sehat dan bugar.
Bersama para pakar kesehatan, kami mengulas kesehatan yang berbalut teknologi.
Simak Go Healthy di Metro TV.
Kenapa sih kita harus berinvestasi di PIK 2? Ada 3 alasan utama. Yang pertama, lokasi PIK 2. Alasan kedua, setiap orang yang membeli PIK 2 dianggap sebagai pemegang saham. Membeli produk PIK 2 memang selalu untung karena harga perdana PIK 2 50% di bawah harga market. Alasan yang ketiga, fasilitas. Di mana fasilitas yang tersedia di PIK 2 jauh lebih banyak dari real estate manapun juga.
Metro TV hadir di mana peristiwa terjadi. Bekerja dengan identitas yang jelas. Dan mampu beradaptasi dengan teknologi terbaru. Agar Anda bisa mendapatkan informasi dengan segera. Jurnalis Metro TV berintegritas dan tidak menerima imbalan dalam bentuk apapun. Metro TV, knowledge to elevate.
You are watching Asia Prime. The action-adventure movie Raya and the Last Dragon is one of the films that represent traditions living in Southeast Asia region. The movie attracts Southeast Asian people, particularly in Indonesia, as 3 actors from the archipelagic country participate as voice cast.
Yes, and we have a chance to interview Mika Tambayong, one of those who's being cast as the voice of Raya. What did Mika experience as the first animation dubber? Daverta Christine has the story.
Is Raya. Our lands have been at war for as long as we can remember. Our people never see eye to eye.
Well, first of all, Disney's Raya and the Last Dragon is a story about the adventure of Raya and her friends in restoring the peace in Kumandra, and Raya being the main character of the whole story. She's the guardian of the gem. So Kumandra was divided into a few places, and Raya, she's the daughter of the chief of Kumandra, so she has that duty to uphold that, you know, that duty that her father had since the very beginning. And the whole story goes as she shows that her being a woman, she was given the chance to actually show her skills, show her compassion in building the peace once again, restoring the peace once again, what her father always wanted her to do and to be. And she's not just a Disney princess. I would say she's a warrior. So I adore Raya so much.
Oh, okay. It's your challenging be a Raya. Raya has a good character.
Yeah.
So what's your challenging?
My challenge would be dubbing her, because obviously it's my first time dubbing, doing a dubbing job, and she had her voice before. I mean, somebody voiced her before, so I had to somehow and somewhat match that that awesome portrayal of Raya, because as I was saying, she was dubbed before, so I had to somehow be in that same level, but doing it in Bahasa Indonesia, which is such an honor for me, and it's quite challenging to, you know, voice a character that is already so iconic, and but like doing it in my own language is an honor. So I wouldn't see it as a challenge. It's a new experience for me. I listened to the original dubber, which was Kelly Marie Tran.
Yes.
I think she did an awesome job. I actually looked at her interviews and like her behind the scenes, how she does it, and it gives me some sort of enlightenment. So it's, yeah, I would probably say my biggest inspiration for voicing Raya is the voice herself, Kelly Marie Tran.
Mika, I know you are a singer.
Yeah.
So in this film, in this project, are you singing?
No,
Oh.
no, I don't sing in this project, but Raya does have a scene where she somehow just a little bit. She sings a little bit for, like, this iconic scene where she first met Sisu. She kind of sings a little bit, so I had to sing the chant for a little bit. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, way to go, Mika. Well, the movie is entitled Raya and the Last Dragon, but we certainly hope this is not the last. As a matter of fact, this is the beginning of more Indonesian,
I hope it's the beginning.
Southeast Asian actresses to
Yes,
showcase
more
their talents.
Indonesian talents on the world.
Why not?
Okay then. So, Ralph, are you moving on to football?
Which we hope will also be a venue for Indonesians to showcase their talents. A heated match day in Group G of the Asian qualifiers for the FIFA World Cup in Qatar 2022 and AFC Asian Cup China 2023 awaits, as Vietnam, the UAE, and Thailand all go into their Monday games with the chance of being top of the group by the end of the night.
Despite not featuring in the previous match day, Vietnam remains top of the group and will look to extend their lead as they face bottom place Indonesia at Al Maktoum Stadium. Tied on 9 points each, group hosts, the UAE face Thailand as both sides look to close the gap on Vietnam or even topple them off the top of the group should the latter lose.
Nearly 19 months since their most recent game in the Asian qualifiers, Vietnam returns to action Monday with their status as group leaders still intact, albeit with a narrower margin following the results of the previous match day.
일단 태국과 첫 경기는 뭐 우리로서는 우리 어린 선수들이 잘 싸워줬고 내일 베트남 경기는 태국보다도 더 힘든 경기가 되지 않을까 생각을 하고 있지만은 그래도 우리 선수들이 첫 경기를 잘 하고 나름대로 열심히 해서 우리 어린 선수들이 좀 더 자신감이 붙었기 때문에 내일은 베트남과 또 더 좋은 경기를 할 거라고 나는 믿고 있습니다. 내일 인도네시아와의 어떤 경기는 인도네시아가 우리가 1차전하고의 어떤 변화가 많습니다. 일단은 뭐 1차전 때와는 달리 감독이 바뀌었고 또 1차전에 뛰었던 선수는 뭐 지금 1명 정도 왔고 그게 기아 선수도 다 빠졌고 또 대체적으로 보면 주축 선수가 작년에 C게임에 뛰었던 선수들이 한 뭐 7, 8명 되고 또 올해 U22세 대상 C게임에 데뷔한 선수들이 한 17, 18명 정도 구성으로 되어 있습니다. 전체적으로 팀이 젊기 때문에 굉장히 파이팅이 넘치고 또 신태용 감독이 경기를 이 앞에 태국과의 경기를 보면 신태용 감독이 오고 나서부터 선수들이 신태용 감독한테 신임을 얻고자 어린 선수들이다 보니까
United Arab Emirates and Thailand find themselves level on points going into their return fixture.
This after contrasting restarts to their respective qualifying campaigns in Group G of the Asian qualifiers of the FIFA World Cup Qatar 2022 and AFC Asian Cup China 2023.
A 4-0 win over Malaysia on Thursday helped the UAE into a superior goal difference as Thailand were held to a 2-2 draw by Indonesia.
I think the team now is better. They are physical stronger and we have a few good players extra with Lima and Caio and my player next to me, he developed very, very well. He's one of the best players now here in UAE. So, and not only Ramadan and Lima and Caio, all the players, they made a very good progress. So if I compare our team with last year, then I will say our team is much better.
أكيد مباراة مهمة مثل مباراة ماليزيا
يمكن تكون أصعب عنها. ثاني خطوة في مشوارنا في خلال ال4 مباريات. إن شاء الله نطمح أن نطلع بنتيجة إيجابية اللي هي الفوز على أساس نكون في المراكز المتقدمة من المجموعة.
With Vietnam just 2 points ahead and having played one more game, Thailand will be eager to repeat their 2-1 win in the reverse leg in October 2019. Back then, it was a veteran striker Terasil Dangda missing from the current squad through injury, who opened the scoring for the War Elephants.
我々がバンコクで戦ったチームとは大幅にメンバーも変わっているように思いますし、相変わらず一人一人のタレントの力っていうものは非常に高いということは感じました。リカバーしていかなければいけない UAE なので非常にアグレッシブに戦っていたと思っています。
ครับก็สวัสดีสื่อมวลชน UAE ครับก็ในเกมพวกนี้ก็ทีมชาติไทยของเราก็พร้อมที่จะทำหน้าที่ตรงนี้ให้เต็มที่ก็ทางทีมงานและสตาฟโค้ชก็ได้มีแผนที่จะรับมือกับ UAE ในเกมวันพรุ่งนี้ครับ
Under head coach Akira Nishino, Thailand have not had the best of times recently, failing to win any of their 3 matches since that UAE victory. A 2-1 reversal against neighbors Malaysia was followed by back-to-back draws against Vietnam and Indonesia.
And we move on to Formula One Grand Prix. Perez wins dramatic Grand Prix of Azerbaijan as Verstappen crashes out.
Here's the full story.
Sergio Perez won a dramatic Azerbaijan Grand Prix after Max Verstappen crashed out from the lead with just 5 laps remaining following a horror tire failure at 200 miles per hour, and Lewis Hamilton threw away second place to finish 15th.
That's not possible.
Verstappen looked poised to race to the flag following a slow pit stop for Hamilton, but a terrifying rear left puncture sent the Red Bull driver out of control and into the concrete wall on the right-hand side of the start-finish straight. Verstappen was able to walk away from the high-speed crash, kicking the tire which helped fail with the safety car deployed. The drivers were permitted to take on fresh rubber for what was effectively a 2-lap race before Hamilton launched a gung-ho move on Perez for the win, only to run down the escape road at the opening corner in a plume of tire smoke. Sebastian Vettel rolled back the years to drive from 11th to 2nd to claim Aston Martin's best result of their return, with Pierre Gasly third for AlphaTauri. Hamilton's late mistakes means Verstappen remains 4 points ahead of the British driver after the opening 6 rounds.
And as we race to the break, we hope you stay with us for more stories coming your way. You're watching Asia Prime on Metro Globe Network.
Berbagi cerita seputar masalah kesehatan langsung dari sumbernya.
Awal saya kena stroke kan saya nggak bisa jalan.
Sama sekali.
Nggak bisa napas.
Sesak nafas.
Sesak napas yang akut banget.
Kejang, melorot jatuh, minum biasa aja tanpa ada rasa dingin atau apa. Itu rasanya udah di sini tuh nyeri.
Bagaimana cara agar kesehatan kita tetap terjaga? Apa saja solusinya? Saksikan Go Healthy di Metro TV.
Miliki gudang multiguna at Peak 2 Bispark. Hadir dengan layout yang fungsional. Bisa difungsikan sebagai gudang, kantor, dan rumah sekaligus. Hanya 3,5 menit menuju interchange. Hanya 18 menit menuju Bandara Internasional Soekarno-Hatta. Miliki gudang multiguna ukuran 6x20 meter. Dengan harga spesial 2,5 miliar rupiah. Kunjungi show unit kami. Hubungi 021 588 8000.
Karena corona masih ada, terus pakai masker. Jangan lupa cuci tangan pakai sabun.
Terus jaga jarak di mana saja. Hindari juga kerumunan biar aman.
Batasi kegiatan di luar rumah, jangan kendor protokol kesehatan.
Vaksin untuk Indonesia.
lagi.
Nikmati Metro TV HD di saluran digital Anda.
Ayo semuanya, dukung migrasi TV digital. Bersih gambarnya, jernih suaranya, dan canggih teknologinya.
Our top stories for tonight. From Pakistan, two express trains collided in the southern part of the country early Monday, killing at least 30 passengers.
Thailand today began their much-anticipated mass rollout of locally produced AstraZeneca vaccine, but it appeared that supplies were falling short of demand from those with scheduled appointments.
The second baby for the Duke and Duchess of Sussex is officially here. Meghan gave birth to a healthy girl, Lilibet Lady Diana.
Three people were killed, including a state corrections official, and at least 5 others injured following a shooting at a Florida graduation party early Sunday. The latest is in a string of such violence in the Miami area. Miami-Dade Police Director Alfredo Freddy Ramirez said the party at a strip mall lounge was ending when one or more vehicles pulled up and began to fire into the crowd. The identities of all of those killed and wounded were not immediately released. The shooting happened about 2 a.m. in the Miami suburb of Kendall. Miami-Dade County Mayor Daniela Levine Cava said she was horrified by this latest shooting. Police will not allow a small group of violent actors to terrorize the community, and the offenders will face full weight of law. Previously, 2 of those follows a bloody Memorial Day weekend in the Miami area that saw 3 people killed and 20 wounded in a still unsolved mass shooting at a banquet hall. Another shooting on May 28th in the Wynwood area killed 1 person and injured 6 others.
A passenger ferry with more than 100 people aboard ran aground in New York City and was taking on water Saturday. The Coast Guard and Fire Department officials reported no serious injuries were reported. The ferry, operated by Sea Streak, which runs routes between New York and New Jersey, lost power and steering on the East River just after 4 p.m., drifted into Bushwick Inlet in Brooklyn and hit ground. The Commodore vessel was traveling from Highlands, New Jersey to East 35th Street in Manhattan. The Coast Guard and New York firefighters helped the Commodore crew get all 105 passengers to safety. Rescue boats were brought in to help with the evacuation, while Sea Streak says the cause of the mishap was a mechanical issue without further elaboration, while fire department officials say one of the 7 crew members was brought to a hospital with injuries that were not life-threatening. First responders were removing water from the ferry, and a salvage company was called in to determine the best way to remove the vessel.
First Lady Jill Biden and Dr. Anthony Fauci toured a COVID-19 vaccination site at a historic Harlem church on Sunday. Biden, Fauci, and U.S. Senator Kristen Gillibrand, a New York Democrat, watched as people got their shots in the basement of the Abyssinian Baptist Church. The Abyssinian Baptist Church has often hosted elected officials and other dignitaries, including in February when former President Bill Clinton and former Senator Hillary Clinton attended a memorial service for actor Cicely Tyson. The church first started offering vaccine doses in January in an effort to boost the vaccination rates in New York City's Black and Hispanic communities.
U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris, who is en route to Latin America Sunday, safely returned back to Joint Base Andrews after her plane had a technical issue. A technical issue that involved no major safety concerns forced Kamala's plane to return to Joint Base Andrews in Maryland about 30 minutes after she had left on a trip to Guatemala and Mexico. The plane landed safely and she gave a thumbs up when she got off. The Vice President was expected to depart in another plane in about an hour. She boarded a new Air Force Air Force 2 at 4:19 p.m. per the print pooler, and the plane departed shortly after, putting Harris 2 hours behind schedule. She'll be in Guatemala and Mexico this week, and that is her first foreign trip as vice president amid political pressure to stem the flow of migrants to the United States.
The White House appeared to support the decision by Facebook to suspend former President Donald Trump's accounts for 2 years, extending the suspension that began in January following a finding that Trump stoked violence ahead of the deadly insurrection at the Capitol. Speaking at the White House briefing on the weekend, Press Secretary Jen Psaki said social media companies have a responsibility to crack down on false information.
Does the White House have any reaction to Facebook's decision to suspend President Trump for 2 years? Was this a reasonable consequence for what he said?
Well, as always, it's a decision for the company to make and any platform to make, and clearly they've come out and made their decision. Our view continues to be, though, that every platform, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, any other platform that is disseminating information to millions of Americans, has a responsibility to crack down on disinformation, to crack down on false information, whether it's about the election or even about the vaccine, as we're trying to keep the American public safe and get more people or return to normal out in society. And I think as we look at it, we learned a lot from President Trump, the former president, over the last couple of years about his behavior and how he uses these platforms. It feels pretty unlikely that the zebra is going to change his stripes over the next 2 years.
Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, one of the most prominent left-wing leaders in the country, endorsed Maya Wiley in the race for the New York City mayor, and urging voters to come together as a movement. Cortez's endorsement represents the most significant development yet in the left-wing efforts to shape the June 22nd Democratic primary that is almost certain to determine the city's next mayor.
We have a choice to make New York City better. We have a choice that is clearly better than privatizing our school system and allowing housing to be built only for the wealthiest people. We have an option of a candidate who can center people, racial justice, economic justice, and climate justice, that didn't just come up to run for mayor, but has experience and has a lifetime of dedication to this. And that candidate is Maya Wiley.
And stay with us for more stories coming your way. You're watching Asia Prime on Metro Globe Network.
Miliki gudang multiguna at Peak 2 Bispark. Hadir dengan layout yang fungsional. Bisa difungsikan sebagai gudang, kantor, dan rumah sekaligus. Hanya 3,5 menit menuju interchange. Hanya 18 menit menuju Bandara Internasional Soekarno-Hatta. Miliki gudang multiguna ukuran 6x20 meter dengan harga spesial 2,5 miliar rupiah. Kunjungi show unit kami. Hubungi 021 588 8000.
Disiplin pakai masker. Hindari risiko sangat tinggi penularan COVID-19 saat tidak memakai masker. Risiko penularan tinggi saat orang sakit tanpa masker berinteraksi dengan orang sehat dengan masker. Risiko penularan sedang jika orang sakit yang memakai masker berinteraksi dengan orang sehat tanpa masker. Dan risiko rendah saat keduanya memakai masker. Memakai masker dapat menurunkan risiko terinfeksi virus corona. Ayo pakai masker sekarang. Tetap bersama kami di jam rehat siang Anda.
Sementara itu, Ditlantas Polda Metro Jaya menggelar
Menikmati informasi dari studio dan laporan langsung dari lapangan dengan disiplin protokol kesehatan.
Polisian pun juga melakukan penjagaan yang sangat
sejumlah persiapan sudah dilakukan di dalam sidang paripurna DPR.
Akan dilakukan konferensi pers terkait
Dimanapun, tetap terinformasi dengan baik dan lengkap karena berita paling aktual kami suguhkan dan perkembangan terkini kami sampaikan. Metro TV, knowledge to elevate.
Buka pikiran Anda, perluas wawasan, dapatkan sudut pandang baru dari sosok-sosok inspiratif.
Unlock with Billy Boone setiap Sabtu di pekan terakhir setiap bulannya.
Nothing but love from Meghan and Harry to the latest addition to their family.
Yes, Meghan and Harry welcome second child Lilibet Lily Diana Mountbatten Windsor.
That's the complete name. The second baby for the Duke and Duchess of Sussex is officially born on Friday. Here's the full report.
A spokesperson for Prince Harry and Meghan said Sunday the couple welcomed their child Lilibet Lily Diana Mountbatten Windsor. Their daughter weighed in at 7 pounds and 11 ounces. Her first name, Lilibet, is a nod to Her Majesty the Queen's nickname. Her middle name is in honor of her grandmother and Harry's mother. The baby is the 8th in line to the British throne. No photos of the newborn or the successes accompanied the announcement. The birth comes after the Harry and Meghan's explosive TV interview with Oprah Winfrey in March. The couple described painful discussions about the color of their first child's skin, losing royal protection, and the intense pressures that led her to contemplate suicide. Buckingham Palace said the allegations of racism made by the couple were concerning. The royal family said the issue would be addressed privately. Winfrey and Harry on mental illness have recently collaborated on the Apple TV Plus mental health series, The Me You Can't See. Harry and American actor Meghan Markle married at Windsor Castle in May 2018. Their son Archie was born a year later. In early 2020, Meghan and Harry announced they were quitting royal duties and moving to North America, citing what they said were the unbearable intrusions and racist attitudes of the British media. They live in Montecito, a posh area near Santa Barbara, California. Last year, Meghan revealed that she had a miscarriage in July 2020, giving a personal account of the traumatic experience in hope of helping others. Months before the miscarriage, Harry said the royal family cut him off financially at the start of 2020 after announcing plans to step back from his roles. But he was able to afford security for his family because of the money his mother, Princess Diana, left behind. In the interview with Winfrey, Meghan said she grew concerned about her son not having a royal title because it meant he wouldn't be provided security. Said digesting everything during while pregnant was, quote, very hard. More than the prince title, she was the most concerned about her son's safety and protection. Meghan said it was hard for her to understand why there were concerns within the royal family about her son's skin color. She said it was hard for her to, quote, compartmentalize those conversations. Harry, too, said there are lasting impacts about Meghan's treatment and his relationship with his family. Harry and Meghan's departure from royal duties began in March 2020 over what they described as the intrusions and racist attitudes of the British media toward the Duchess. Santa Barbara Cottage Hospital declined to give the Associated Press an interview.
Well, another royal baby from Harry and Meghan. I always look forward to see how baby Lily looks like.
And will she get along with big brother Archie?
Well, she should, yeah, okay. Under strict parenting from Meghan and Harry, of course.
We hope so, and we'll see then. Well, speaking of London, still in the city and still in the country of UK, the Bafta TV Awards took place there on Sunday.
There were quite a few surprises that evening, including the fact that one of the winners in the Must See Moment Award was the most complained about TV show in 2020 in the UK.
BAFTA goes to Reiki Ayola.
Reiki Ayola was awarded the Best Actress Award at the Bafta TV Awards Sunday, June 6, 2021, with Malachi Kirby getting the Best Supporting Actor honor. Ayola accepted the award in person for her role in Anthony by Jimmy McGovern, and Malachi Kirby was speechless over Zoom after his win for his performance in Steve McQueen's Small Axe. Michaela Cowell was honored with the Nest miniseries award for I May Destroy You, which she wrote, starred in, and partially directed. The 12-part drama about a woman attempting to remember and come to terms with a sexual assault was inspired by something that happened to Cole herself. Paul Mescal won as leading actor for Normal People. Meanwhile, dance group Diversity won the Must-See Moment Award for their controversial Britain's Got Talent routine, which reflected the killing of George Floyd and the Black Lives Matter movement. The routine was aired in September and made Britain's Got Talent the most complained about TV show of 2020.
Kind of alarming bits, but this is mad. Because this is like so much more than just an award. I want to just say firstly, thank you to every single person who voted.
The Cannes Film Festival announced its official selection, competing for the Palme d'Or Thursday, June 3rd, after the pandemic robbed the festival of its event last year.
Out of 24 films competing for the prestigious prize, fewer than 5 films are from Asia.
South Korean film critic Kim Seong-hoon said Cannes usually cherry-picks Asian directors they are familiar with through a series of films and has a higher entry barrier compared to other film festivals like Berlin, Rotterdam, and Locarno, where new talents get discovered more frequently. Kim, who is a senior editor at South Korea's well-known film magazine Scene 21, added that new talents rarely end up in competition at Cannes, and rising directors climb the ladder from its out-of-competition category.
영화 3편을 크게 정리를 하면 이란 출신의 아시가르 파라디 감독과 타이의 앞작품 위라스타쿤 감독은 칸이 그동안 굉장히 오랜 시간을 두고 지지를 해왔고 또 칸 국제영화제에서 수상들을 작품을 내놓을 때마다 경쟁 부분에서 수상을 했던 작품 2편을 꼽았고요. 또 하나는 이제 일본의 신인 감독들, 신인 감독을 막 떠오르고 있는 이제 하마구치 유스케 감독에 대한 이제 지지를 이제 계속 이어갔다라는 점에서 의미를 부여를 할 수 있을 것 같습니다.
Hamaguchi was nominated for his latest film, Drive My Car, which is about an aging widowed actor who hires a 20-year-old chauffeur. There are also industry veterans like Iran-born Asghar Farhadi and Thai director Apichatpong Wirasitakul, familiar figures at Cannes. Wirasitakul won the Palme d'Or at Cannes in 2010 with his feature film, Uncle Bunmi, Who Can Recall His Past Lives. He is competing for the festival's top award again this year with Memoria, featuring Tilda Swinton. Farhadi has won trophies at the Berlin Film Festival, the Academy Awards, and other prizes at Cannes with his family-oriented movies. This year, Farhadi is back with A Hero. The 74th Cannes Film Festival will take place from 6 to 17 July 2021.
One of Australia's largest collection of vintage cinema projection equipment is being brought to life. We have more on this on Asia Prime. Stay with us.
Miliki gudang multiguna at Peak 2 Bispark. Hadir dengan layout yang fungsional, bisa difungsikan sebagai gudang, kantor, dan rumah sekaligus. Hanya 3,5 menit menuju interchange, hanya 18 menit menuju Bandara Internasional Soekarno-Hatta. Miliki gudang multiguna ukuran 6x20 meter dengan harga spesial 2,5 miliar rupiah. Kunjungi show unit kami, hubungi 021 588 8000.
Salah satu cara mencegah penyebaran virus corona adalah dengan menggunakan masker.
Berikut adalah cara menggunakan masker yang baik dan benar.
Cuci tangan terlebih dahulu sebelum memakai masker. Masker tidak boleh longgar. Tutupi batang hidung hingga dagu.
Ingat, sebelum makan atau minum, lepaskan masker dan letakkan masker di tempat yang bersih.
Virus corona berbahaya. Lindungi diri, keluarga, dan sesama dengan semua pakai masker. Oh ya, buat kalian yang udah di mobil mau berangkat, jangan lupa safety belt-nya dipakai ya. Terus, cek juga ban, rem, dan pastinya harus selalu jaga jarak aman sama mobil lain. selalu hati-hati di jalan raya karena ada orang tercinta yang selalu menunggu.
Kenapa sih kita harus berinvestasi di PIK 2? Ada 3 alasan utama. Yang pertama, lokasi PIK 2. Alasan kedua, setiap orang yang membeli PIK 2 dianggap sebagai pemegang saham. Membeli produk PIK 2 memang selalu untung karena harga perdana PIK 2 50% di bawah harga market. Alasan yang ketiga, fasilitas. Di mana fasilitas yang tersedia di PIK 2 jauh lebih banyak dari real estate manapun juga.
Nikmati Metro TV HD di saluran digital Anda.
Ayo semuanya, dukung migrasi TV digital. Bersih gambarnya, jernih suaranya, dan canggih teknologinya.
Karena corona masih ada, terus pakai masker. Jangan lupa cuci tangan pakai sabun.
Terus jaga jarak di mana saja. Hindari juga kerumunan biar aman.
Batasi kegiatan di luar rumah, jangan kendor protokol kesehatan. Vaksin untuk Indonesia.
Kawhi Leonard scored 28 points, Marcus Morris added 23, and the Los Angeles Clippers finally won at home, finishing off the Dallas Mavericks 126-111 on Sunday in Game 7 of the first-round playoff series.
Paul George added 22 points, 10 assists, and 6 rebounds for the Clippers, who advanced to the Western Conference semis for the second straight year. They'll play the top-seeded Utah Jazz beginning Tuesday night in Salt Lake City. Luka Doncic had 46 points, 14 assists, and 7 boards to lead the 5th-seeded Mavs, who have yet to win a playoff series since capturing the NBA championship in 2011.
Floats it high off the glass. Powell on the follow with 0.2 of a second remaining. And that will end a high-scoring first quarter from 3. 26 of their 49 points.
But Boban and Finney Smith, as George hit that, they're creating those second shot opportunities.
You see earlier was turning the corner and getting to the paint. Now he's settling offensively. There's Leonard on the drive and the finish. Kawhi Leonard throws it down and the Clippers back up by 2. And that's it back from Kennard.
Now, before the break, Fifi promised we're going to bring you the story of the vintage cinema in Australia, but we apologize, it's running out of time. We'll try to bring that story to you in the next edition.
I did promise, and we hope that the story will be on tomorrow's edition of Asia Prime.
Yep. And we'll close today's edition with baseball. San Diego's Ha-Seong Kim went 1 for 3 and played third base in the San Diego Padres 6-2 loss to the New York Mets. South Korean infielder exited the game before the top of the 7th inning. On behalf of everyone working here at Asia Prime, I'm Ralph Nabubolon.
And I'm Fifi Aledea here. We hope to see you again tomorrow. Stay tuned on Global Network.
Metro TV.
Rukan Asia Afrika PIK 2 memiliki beberapa keunggulan sebagai berikut. Yang pertama, dari segi lokasi. Berada di jalan utama PIK 2, yaitu Jalan Asia Afrika yang merupakan boulevard selebar 50 meter. Hanya sekitar 3,5 menit menuju interchange, 18 menit menuju Bandara Internasional Soekarno-Hatta, 7 menit menuju Center Point, Pantai Pasir Putih, dan CBD PIK 2. Yang kedua, merupakan konsep desain satu-satunya di Jakarta yang mengusung konsep multi